So it doesn't need to turn into a big ordeal. I think I felt embarrassed, and there's really nothing to be embarrassed about.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, stop! And not enough people are talking about it.
We all can make a difference. It starts right here.
Hi, this is Mr. Daniel with Pandas Karate. Thank you guys so much for watching our next video on bullying. Today I have a special guest from Long & Foster, Franco Saladino. Thanks so much for being on this show today.
Thanks for having me.
Franco, can you please tell the audience just a little bio about yourself and who you are and what do you do in the community?
I am a real estate agent here in Rockville, Maryland. I've grown up in Montgomery County, so I'm a MoCo kid, and I went to University of Maryland. Pretty involved with my church here in Church of the Redeemer, so very involved in the community.
One of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on is, yeah, he's a local kid, but he also lives in Durwood, so that's really cool. We got a Durwoodian here. How long have you been a realtor for?
Just about 11 years.
11 years, that's a long time. So anybody looking for a house, you can talk to Franco. On top of that, he's also been on HGTV on 2 different TV shows. What were the names of them?
It was House Hunters and My First Place.
Awesome, so you can catch him there hopefully on some rerun episodes. So Franco, with these interviews, I always like talking about personal bullying experiences. So can you please share to the audience some experiences you had growing up and what would they like with bullying?
Sure. Well, I think some of my hardest years were probably middle school, and that I hear is true for a lot of folks, but I had kind of hopped a couple of different schools, went from public to private, back to public, and so I was not the new kid on the block, but kind of a new face for a lot of folks in my school. I was a quieter kid, and not the most athletic, so I often would get picked on or called names a lot.
You mentioned something interesting about going from public to private. Did you experience bullying situations from both of those environments, or was it just one versus the other?
It was mainly just the public school environment. I wasn't in the private setting too long, just about a year.
Why do you feel like it happens so much in middle school? Like you use that word that it just mainly came up there. Why do you think middle school, statistically speaking, I don't know if any of you guys know, but bullying is at its highest point when you are in middle school. But what's your personal opinion about that?
I think there's a few different things going on. I feel like people are trying to establish who they are. They're not really sure. They're being pulled in a few different directions, trying to impress people, trying to make friends. And I don't think kids at that age are terribly secure in themselves or with themselves. So I think often kind of targeting somebody else helps them to feel a little better about themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's multiple reasons why bullies gravitate to certain, people and just want to take advantage of you, I guess. Mm-hmm. Just curious, how did you handle those type of moments though? So when they happened to you, what did you do about it?
I kept a lot of it to myself. It wasn't probably the best way to handle it. I was quiet, so not many people knew maybe something was wrong or different because I kind of just stayed quiet and just internalized it and kind of did the whole ignore technique.
Yeah.
Hoping that it would just kind of go away.
I did a free bully seminar in Olney just a couple of weeks ago, and what's popular still amongst guidance counselors telling students is to ignore bullies. But to be honest, sometimes I feel like, yeah, it might work, maybe 2 out of 10 times.
Right.
But then the other times it doesn't, and
right.
That was a tactic I thought would work, and yeah, it kind of worked, and then it really didn't. And it's only when I stood up for myself did I become, did I vocalize that, hey, why are you bothering me, or getting my parents or getting my teachers involved. I think that's when it took another level. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how you talk about ignoring, because I do tell my students a lot that ignoring is probably not the best option anymore, being here in 2017. It's a little bit different now. To tell our audience some last advice, what if you could go back again, what would you do different? What would you suggest to somebody in those type of situations? What would be your best advice?
It's a good question. I think if I could go back in time, or if I could give somebody advice now, would be get somebody else involved. So it doesn't need to turn into a big ordeal. I think I felt embarrassed, and there's really nothing to be embarrassed about. So I would let somebody know, and not keep yourself in isolation, kind of how I did. So I think ignoring is maybe a first level of combating bullying, but I think quickly, if it continues, you need to quickly bring somebody else in on it. So whether it's a parent or a teacher, or even if it's a friend at this point, just don't be alone through it, because sometimes you can be your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And really getting yourself down, when really I think it comes down to the other person not being secure with who they are.
I love that. That's a great way to finish this video. Franco, thank you so much for being on the show
thanks
today.
for having me.
Man, he's spitting some great facts here. Please, audience, you got to share this post. Spread the word. Only with you can we make a difference.
We all can make a difference. It starts right here.